There is a difference between forgiveness and allowing the injustice to continue. They are not the same. So forgiveness, let me give you an example. Suppose someone comes and slaps me, right? So they slap me in on this cheek. Forgiveness would be, I will do my best to forgive you for what you did just now or what you did in the past, while at the same time making sure that you don't do it again. Okay. Forgiveness does not mean turning the other cheek. Forgiveness does not mean you hit me in this cheek, so let me turn my cheek to make it easier to hit me on that cheek. That is not from our deen. Our deen does not approve of injustice. Our deen does not approve of oppression, and Allah does not approve of that on himself or on others. We also cannot approve of oppression or injustice, whether that is being committed upon ourselves or upon our children, upon our family, or overseas. We should always take action against injustice and oppression. And so a lot of times we have this confusion between forgiveness and being passive, right? Forgiveness doesn't mean being passive. Having sabr doesn't mean being passive. For example, you wake up and you realize that your house is on fire, right? You don't look at that fire and say, this is the test of Allah. This is a test from Allah. This is my qadar. This is my destiny. I'm going to have sabr and I'm going to go back to sleep. Or I'm just going to sit down and I'm going to have sabr and watch the fire continue. That is not sabr, right? Sabr means when your house is on fire, it means taking action to stop the fire. Call the fire department, get a fire extinguisher. And if the fire does not stop, you run, don't walk out of a burning house. This is something that I have had to scream from the top of the mountains because we have so much misunderstanding in our community when it comes to abuse. When it comes to oppression and injustice, there is this idea that you should drink poison and keep a smile on your face. And we call that sabr. False, wrong. This is not our deen. This is toxic, backwards culture. And a lot of that culture, by the way, comes from Hinduism or Christianity, turn the other cheek. It is not from Islam. Islam is a religion that says that if you see something wrong, you must try to change it with your hand. This is the advice of the Prophet ﷺ. In fact, the command of the Prophet. He says, if you see something wrong, try to change it with your hand. And if you cannot, try to change it with your tongue. And if you cannot, then at least hate it in your heart. And this is the weakest of faith. So he's telling us to be active and to take active steps against injustice, oppression, abuse. So we have to be careful not to misunderstand forgiveness with being passive, because forgiveness is about something that happened in the past, but I am making sure it does not continue. And so when you say that this person continues to backstab you, well, that is because you are not putting up that boundary. You can't allow them to continue to harm you. Forgiveness doesn't mean that you allow the oppression or the wrong or the abuse to continue. Forgiveness is about a past action, but taking action to prevent it from continuing in the future.